Welcome to JavaCharter. Let's evolve with programming. Spring Framework is one of the most powerful frameworks for the Java developer today. Since 2017, Spring 5 and Spring Boot 2 have come up with their major revisions. Now it's time for the new baseline. With the new release of Spring 6 and Spring Boot 3, let's look at what it has brought to the Java and the Kotlin developers. Hey, my name is Kailash Nirmal. I am a developer. I have over 12 years of experience. Most of the time, I have worked on Java and J2EE technologies. I am excited and happy to share the major changes with you all for this newest Spring and Spring Boot release. If I talk about the major highlights of Spring Boot 3, then first is the release date. The final version, the stable version, is released in November 2022. For the Java version, so Spring Boot 3 is based on Spring Framework 6 and requires Java 17 and above. If I talk about the third-party libraries upgrades, Spring Boot 3 has been migrated from Java Enterprise Edition to the Jakarta Enterprise Edition APIs. For Graal VM native image support, native images can run with less memory. Better observability with micrometer for metrics and traces. After the major highlights, let's talk about the main changes in brief. First important changes across the entire framework is the baseline version that changed with the Spring Boot 3 and Spring Framework 6. Most development with Spring is still based on Java, and there is a new LTS baseline for this major version upgrade. This is the most important change. The new baseline is now Java 17. Now if I talk about the Jakarta EE, the Jakarta EE also has a new baseline version. This of course goes with the new Java 17 base. Kotlin baseline has also changed. Of course, this goes with the Java 17 change. The new baseline for Kotlin is 1.9. Those who are not familiar with the Kotlin, please note that this only impacts those who are doing the Kotlin based development. Overall, it's just a different language on the JVM itself. Now there are few additional changes to be noticed. Spring Boot 3 requires Spring 6, so they go together. If you are using Spring Boot 3, you are going to get Spring Boot 6. For those of you who are the one who are using the Gradle as a build tool, that should note that is now has a baseline of 7.3. And those who are using the Jersey framework, please note that there is no current support for the Jersey in Spring Boot 6, but should be added back once the support is there. So if you are using a Jersey, I would suggest to hold off on a migration until the support is in the place. The very important note is that all the deprecated classes are removed in this version. Now if I talk about the Spring Framework changes, the one very important upgrade is around the URL matching. So please note that the trailing slash is no longer supported in the base method. In other terms, if I talk, Spring now treats it as a part of the URL and try to match on the request mapping that contains the trailing slashes. Of course, these changes are done keeping security in mind. Now, the second is HTTP method is now a class. So this is again a very important change. One should know. Also note that servlet is now a Jakarta servlet instead of JavaX. JavaX persistence is now a Jakarta persistence, and if you are using that in your data entities or in your Hibernate classes, then you are going to have the make changes into your code around the imports to make sure that you don't break along with any changes that JPA specification brought in. In addition to that, if you are using the Hibernate validations, so now JavaX validation is Jakarta validation. Again, for this, your imports will have to change as appropriate. If I talk about the web security configure adapter, so that is now that is already deprecated, and as we saw in the previous slide, all the deprecated classes has now been removed in Spring Boot 3 and Spring Framework 6. The last note, while Spring has a very well documented migration strategy, you can go to the official documentation, but you may face issues in testing your code once you migrated. So I have a few last notes for you guys. So I would like to present that. First of all, the migration path revolves around the JDK itself. So Java 17 is a new baseline. So make sure you first upgrade to the Java 17. That should be your first step. Try to compile your code and then focus on the Spring changes. Go through your entire code line by line and fix every single deprecations. Compile and test your application. Fix the errors that require to be fixed. And then finally you deploy and test your application before making it to a live. I would suggest to go through the Spring Boot 2.7 and Spring Framework 5 before directly jumping to the latest version. How this will help you? This will again, when you compile your code with Java 17 and Spring Boot 2.x and Spring Framework 5, you will get to know about the lot of deprecations. Okay, so that will help you to migrate to the latest version. So yeah, that's it, and I hope you guys will find this video helpful. Thank you. Bye bye.